Alright, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen of the internet, of YouTube, hello and welcome to the the third episode of the walkthrough to Divinity 2, the Dragonite Saga. In this episode we are going to do part 2 of Riverwood. We're going to finish up this area, which means that we're going to do a few dungeons in here, and we're going to clear out the last bit of the valley here, and that'll be it. And of course we're going to hand in our quests. Let's see, there's a watchtower here with a guard stuck. You want to mind read him because it'll give you new insights, which in this case means you gain a free stat point. Well, not free, but you know, it is a stat point you get for only 340 experience, so that's really good deal. And you can see we are mowing through these enemies. Yep. Okay. We're mowing through them because we've got this very strong mace that we bought from the smith, Derek, in the last episode. Gonna keep my eyes open for plants or ores. Here is the accomplice mouse of Richard. Oh, I didn't check the sword. Is it good? Oh, it is good. Not better, but it is still good. Alright. We should, by the way, invest our stats and attribute points. We're going to get the very last level of lockpicking. Level 5 we're going to get after we go to Sentinel Island, which will be the area after the entire village here. Actually, maybe I can show you on the map. I can. Yeah, very nice. Okay, so I should have shown you in this in episode 2. This here, where all these door icons are, is the village. Broken Valley. No, this is Broken Valley. This is the valley that we are in right now. This part of the valley is where we are now, and which we are going to clear in this episode. If you want to go through this spot here, you have to go one step further in the main quest, which in our case would be to go to Captain Road, tell her about the dragon sighting, and then doing the one thing that she asks of us. By completing that, we can move through here. But we're not going to. We're going to clear this bit of the valley. After you go further into the main quest, you have the entirety of the rest of the valley free to you to explore. And we will eventually, after we complete everything here, and we move on to the main quest after that, which will be 2 parts. There's one part in here, Lovis' Tower, and one part in here, Maxos' Temple. We will move to an island, and after you complete the island, this will all be lost. You can't return here anymore at that point. So that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, for today, this is what we're going to clear. Going to lower the volume a bit. Okay, good. Now you can see a goblin campsite here. Let's see if we can clear it. Holding in the sneeze. Okay, oh, that's good. There's 2 formidable enemies or foes in this campsite. One is a goblin priest, which is a goblin that is dual wielding axes, which just has a very high damage output. The other one is the first boss, which is that glowing sphere there, Sharma. Let's see. Yeah, on our left, that's the Goblin Chief. We want to take out the healer first, then Yalmar, and then the Chief. Okay, all the way. Get a potion in. Stun them. Alright. And now we take out the Goblin Chief. Yeah, he deals a shit ton of damage. Roll away. Guide them. Stun him. Whirlwind. Very nice. And there you go. Alright, the Goblin Chief had a +1 mind read. Oh, that's nice. And his mask, which you have to give to Captain Rodney in order to complete that quest. For the bosses, the mini bosses that are in this valley. Alright, no chests in here, but we finished off all of them. Let's equip that bracelet that we got. Here you go. And then we'll finish up this area. Here's the chapel. Oh, another chief. Oh. Heal back up. Stun him. You saw he was mid animation to hit me, but he couldn't finish it because I staggered him with my whirlwind before he could. Always check if they drop a goblin heart, because again that's a lot of experience and gold. Here's the assassin of the Miller quest line. I don't think you want to mind read him. No. I just keep eating chicken leg. I don't think he can out damage me. No, not even close. Good. By the way, if I had played like I just did on Nightmare difficulty, with the Goblin Chief and the Yamar fight and such, I would have had to. The fight would have been the same, except I would have drunk like 4 or 5 potions, kiting everything as much as possible, and trying to fight openings to get attacks in without getting hit too hard. And for what it's worth, the value of skills such as Whirlwind do increase in such fights, because it's more valuable to protect yourself from damage by interrupting your opponent or your enemies by staggering them.
Another one to add to the collection.
Very nice. Take out these. You can see you can just roll so you don't get hit. That's curse. So our damage is decreased by 20% whilst this effect is going on. I would have expected a few more goblin heart drops. Alright. Now we're gonna go up here. Here we will find our second shrine, and shrines are the teleportation mode in this game. Go to dodge there, go it again. Don't heal. Good. Nice. Goblin heart? Yes. Right, you don't have to teleport with them immediately, but you do want to activate the shrine, otherwise they won't take you anywhere. There are more goblins in here, so let's clear this off first. Here's some coins. Alright. Hey, there we got an evade proc. So we didn't take any damage from that hit.
One to add to the collection.
Something to keep in mind is that things like a fire can deal damage to you. Same goes for if you walk in poisoned water or something like
Another
that.
one to add to the collection.
Alright. Hey. Another goblin heart. Oh, that's a chief. Ah, he's getting healed. That is annoying. I'm just gonna run away and wait out my potion real quick. And then stagger him, and then take him out. Yes. Good. I'm also going to save the game, because I was one hit away from death by the chief. And when you die, which hasn't happened yet, luckily, when you die, you just have to load the last save. So if you don't save often, that's, you know, it makes it even worse if you die, because you have to replay so much. Pay attention, there's a key on this chair here, and you need it to complete what is in here, which is one of these set items.
Shiny.
And probably the helmet we are going to use all the way until like level 13 or something like that. Okay.
Shiny.
Some oranges. Very good. Good for the vitamins. And here you need the key. We'll put away our weapon. Let's see. Barrel. Yeah, that's it. The helmet.
Shiny.
Of the Wild Dwellers, which is the ranger armor set in this valley. The early game. See if there's anything here. There should be a jewel box, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, right here.
Shiny.
Some gems, a potion, some gold. That's it. Now, unfortunately, there is no such thing as a quick move option until you get in the last part of the game, the Orbis Fjords. So we'll just have to walk away back out of this dungeon. But before we leave completely, we're going to equip our new helmet. Oh. Here it is, the Wild Dweller. Ah, it requires level 5. That's a shame. Yeah, take a look at that. It's 3 ranged armor, 5 magic armor, and 6 melee armor, and 2 vitality. I mean, compared to the 1 ranged armor we're getting right now, that's an enormous upgrade. Because there's probably more armor in melee and magic than I've got right now in all of my equipped armor combined. Let's take out these goblins here. One last chief. Take out the healer first, otherwise the healer will just heal the chieftain. And there you go. Yeah, I would have definitely expected some more hearts. I think I'm on 5 hearts right now. Let's check. 6. Okay. This is a cave where we're going to encounter our very first skeletons. But there are going to be more skeletons in this part of the valley. Let's Open up this here and take out the 2 or 3 skeletons that are in here. I'll just chew on my my chicken leg whilst fighting. There you go. Alright, there's a few things to loot. You want to open this, but you need a key, and the key is in the bathtub. Bow. I've got a lot of bows, which is unfortunate because I don't need them. Oh, this is nice as well. A strong warhammer. I'll just roll in to see if there's anything in here. No, there is not. Potion. Okay. Yeah, that's decent.
Shiny.
And here we get a quest. You can check if there's loot in these corpses. Yes, corpses. Because there's a necromancer here. Whom we have to mind read as well, by the way. Dragfire, that's the password of the storage. Alright. Here you see a creature. You can summon this creature if you complete his quest. His quest basically asks of you to find a skull that allows you to, basically just summon a creature on command, which would then turn into an item you can just put in your hotbar. For example, I always put it on number 8, and then you can summon your own creature. And the creature has stats that depend on limbs you put on it, and you can switch out the limbs at your necromancer. So until we get a new necromancer, which will be in the Orbis Fjords, this guy will be your necromancer. We've reached level 5, so we're going to equip our new helmet. Is this better? It is not. Unless you invest a lot in strength, then it is. This is going to make us quite a lot of money, by the way, to get all of these. So we're just going to leave it there. I am going to increase my vitality all the way to level 50. And after that, I'm going to look at other stats. Just so you know on beforehand. Yeah, okay, good. Now we're going to clear out the other side of the river. After that, we're going to go into this chapel. And we're going to go into a dungeon that is next to the farm of Farmer Jackson. And there's the dungeon of Lewis. Oh, I have to level a skill, by the way. I'm just going to go for Rush. Rush is very useful because it allows you to dash onto an enemy. I'll show it to you right now. But it's especially useful versus ranged enemies, because now I have to walk and dodge my way until I'm at the location of the ranged enemy. And with this rush skill, you can just rush your way to him. Let's see, it target one, and then you rush. I don't think there's a chief here. Good. There's a lot of enemies around me, so I'll just use my whirlwind a lot, as much as possible. There you go. You see, I only got 2 experience from the level 2 goblins, and that's because I'm level 5 now. If I were level 4, I would have gained more experience. But that's not too much of a problem. I don't mind it all that much. especially because the amount of experience I would have gained in addition to what I'm at right now is like 200 or something like that, and completing one quest gives you 900. So yeah, that doesn't really put things into perspective. If it's even at 200, it might be less than that. But here's the dungeon next to Farmer Jackson's farm. There are skeletons in here. Here is one. Alright. By the way, I can show you something which might be interesting now. Since I've got such a good warhammer, I can dual wield them. I'll just show off how it works. Pretty good. I think it's fairly dark on screen. Maybe I have to increase the brightness a bit. I'll put it at 60%. Oh, did I just discard my changes? I might have. Yeah, I did. Apply, please. Thanks. See if this makes... it's a bit lighter. Yeah, well. Shame you don't have functional torches in this game. That would be quite useful for situations like this. Another sword.
Shiny.
Chest. This is the chest you have to open with lockpicking. This is the one you open with the key.
Another one to add.
Right, that's just some junk I want to sell. All right. Yeah, nothing significant in here. No named items. There is a named belt. The belt of Lieutenant Lewis in his cave near the chapel. So we will get that one in a second. But first, going to the chapel that's in here, in the valley. And then we'll finish up all the quests, and it's done. This part of the valley. We'll move on. Alright. Before we move in, or before we enter, let's make a save. Examine and pull the lever, or the lever. You can just leave, so keep in mind, it's not like you're locked in being here. There's some more skeletons. Good. Nice. Here's a chest. Opened by lockpicking. Another bow. Well, I don't mind that much. I mean, it's just free money. Get rid of the skeleton mage. I guess this might be a good time to go into the differences in weapon styles. So, right now we are dual wielding. And you can see that you attack a lot slower than when you were only wearing or wielding one mace, wielding two maces. The way the damage is calculated when fighting in melee is through your melee skills, your weapon expertise. I think it's good to show you how they work, because it's the major way for melee builds to increase their base damage. Let's see. Barrel, potion, good. Okay. In your skills, all the way to the right, you've got unarmed expertise, one-handed, dual wielding, weapon and shield, and two-handed. And for bows, you have ranger strength, by the way. if you want to increase your damage, you want to increase one of these. Right now, the weapon I have in my primary hand deals 1% increased damage. So that's the damage of that weapon is at 101%. My offhand weapon has a modification of minus 70%, so the amount of damage that weapon is dealing right now is at 30%. This could mean, by the way, right now my weapon damage is calculated as 5 to 6 melee damage and 5 to 5 magic damage. If I get rid of this one, my magic damage is doubled because this one has twice the amount of magic damage, but my melee damage is lowered because this one has lower melee damage than this one. If I simply wear the melee mace, I get the initial melee damage. This could mean that by swapping around these values, by swapping which weapon is in your primary hand and which one is in your secondary hand, you can get higher weapon damage. The reason this is relevant is because your skills calculate using your weapon damage. Rush, for example, does 1 times your normal damage, and your normal damage is the value that you have here. Now, same goes for things like Battle Rage. It works differently with things like Battle Rage. This increases only your melee damage, whilst Defensive Posture decreases your melee damage and your ranged damage. But it doesn't do anything, it doesn't modify your magic damage. Because of reasons like that, it is very good if you want to use Battle Rage, which we do, because it's a lot of fun. It sends you into this frenzy of maximum damage, sort of. It's a lot of fun, it is, really. Because of that, it is very good for us to focus on melee damage. Now, of course, we haven't got Battle Rage yet, and we're not going to use it for quite some time. But when we are going to use it, it would be better to focus on the melee mace than the melee or magic mace. Now, these damage modifications are calculated through your weapon expertise skills. Now, the ones that are not dual wielding or weapon and shield are the easiest, because they simply say you do more damage. You would hit for 100, and now next level you'll hit for 104, right? And the next level you'll hit for 107. Dual wielding expertise works differently, and because of this, it is bad in the early game and overpowered in the mid to late game. Sword and Shield is really strong as well, because it actually increases the armor rating of your shield. But it's bad late game, because late game you don't need the armor rating of your shield, and your attack speed is lowered if you use a sword and a shield. So your DPS would be a lot higher if you're just using a single weapon and no shield, despite having these bonuses. All playstyles are viable, but when you're looking for pure damage, the dual wielding expertise is the best because the modifier is the greatest. Actually, I'm going to have to test that because this modifier is huge as well, 7% increase. Yeah, we'll test it. You can, by the way, if you mess up, your skill point increases. There is a way to unlearn your skills, and you'll just gain back all of your skill points. Here are quite a few enemies, so this might be a good time to eat some more chicken. Even some goblins. Alright. We want to go this way, but I want to finish up this part of the dungeon
Shiny.
before we have to return here. Let's see. Some minerals. No, it sucks. I would like to target. Yeah, thank you. We haven't looted
Another
this one
to
yet.
add to the collection.
Anything in here? No, nothing in here. Corpse is also empty. Okay. Then we'll move back. The reason, by the way, I haven't touched on this yet. The reason we are in this dungeon is not because of the same reason we were in the dungeon next to Farmer Jackson's farm. That one we were in because we just wanted loot, right?
Shiny.
More gold, more items, more potions, you name it. This one is a quest-related dungeon to the quest we got from Captain Lewis. He asks us to go into this dungeon because there's a tunnel that leads to the jail in the barracks. In that jail, there is a bandit captured, but the bandit won't talk about the location of his hideout. There is a really big bandit camp in the bigger part of the valley, and Lewis says, I want you to break him out. He'll be upstairs, that ladder, by the way. I want you to break out the bandit and then convince him to lead you to the bandit camp, or tell him the password to your bandit camp. When we have that, we can go into the bandit camp and take all of them out, so that, you know, this valley, Broken Valley, will be a safer place. You want to do that, however, first you want to go into the bandit camp yourself and complete a bunch of quests there. If you go, this the dialogue, by the way, with the bandits.
What? Who are
Yeah.
you? Not
If you go to Captain Lewis and tell him about the bandit camp, then he will send his soldiers to the bandit camp and they will take out the bandits before they can give you the quest. Therefore, you know, taking a bunch of quests out of your well, getting rid of a lot of quests that you could otherwise just complete perfectly fine. Now we're going to go to where we just were, because Martin has a magic hand, I suppose, because he can unlock the the door that we couldn't unlock, which said it would require a key, but of course that's just quest related in this case. Do your thing. And then we're going to save, because there are a few fairly high level goblins in this cave. Yeah, these are level 5. We haven't encountered level 5 enemies yet, except for the mages, the skeletal mages. But there's also going to be a level 6 goblin chief, and that one really hurts. Before we move on, we are going to open a secret here. There's a pressure plate with a skill book and a bunch of gems. Right here is a skill book.
Shiny.
Wonderful. Black ore vein, good. We'll consume the skill book. And there's our third free skill point that we can get in while still in this valley. Yeah, I'm not going to invest in these skills yet, because the value you get from it, for example, increasing damage by 3% is so low value versus increasing your other skills that I'm just not, it's not worth it at this point. That being said, though, and this is important. The higher the damage you have on your weapons is, so the higher this number is, the more value they give. Just something to keep in mind, because they indirectly also increase the damage of skills like Whirlwind and Rush, which apply your normal damage as well. But again, I'm going to invest in these later on the Sentinel Islands. Alright, let's get a second point into Whirlwind for an additional 4 damage. Let's see if we can take out the Goblin Chieftain. Yeah, there he is. Yeah, he hits for 20 health each hit. So if we hadn't invested all of our attribute points into Vitality, then you would have to constantly be sipping a potion in order to survive his hits, or be kiting him to oblivion whilst shooting him with a bow, for example. Which I'm not going to do, by the way. Just something to keep in mind. I'm going to do a pure melee playthrough.
Feel my wrath.
All right. Here's a normal level 4 chief. No goblin hearts at all. That's quite annoying. You can just jump through here. This is where we just fought the level 8, or sorry, the level 6 goblin chief. And here we can pull the lever and go out. You recognize where we are right now, because this is next to Jackson Farmer's camp.
There you are. What took you so long? Wouldn't you? Those seekers don't shy away from creative interrogation, I can tell you that. But tell me, who are you really? And why did you help me escape?
Yeah. I'm going to say the second one.
Why?
I've always wanted to take part in the adventurous life of a band of outlaws.
You've sure proved. Tell you what, you'll also need the password.
The password is beetroot. Okay, very well. And then he will run off to his bandit camp. By the way, if you do say that that Captain Lewis wants to infiltrate the bandit camp, then he'll just laugh and say, he won't be able to because we're too big and strong and scary because we're bandits. Basically.
Hello again, Slayer. Safe travel.
Okay, we've got the dungeon of Captain Lewis, and then we are going to continue with the main quest.
How about a nice ring for your sweetheart? Or some magical trinkets to protect you on the road?
Alright, the abandoned crypt. There are again some more skeletons in here. Don't worry, by the way, there are other enemies in this game other than goblins and skeletons. Although it is limited to those in the first parts of the early game. Unfortunately. Although we did face some boars as well. And there are going to be some reanimated walking armors in Maxus's temple. And some bandits. As I mentioned, there's a bandit camp, right? So there's also going to be bandit enemies. Alright. Check for loot. Oh. There's the mage. Oh, the mage is going to drop the key, by the way, to continue in this dungeon. Thank you. Nothing here. Oh, that's a shame. Oh well. Yeah, there's some mock skeletons here. There you go. We are 2 or 3 skeletons short of a level up, but I think we've killed all of them. So we'll get the level up by continuing the main quest. This is it. Alright. There's a book. There's a Droxlerite. Cheese and an apple. A chest. A barrel. Oh, hey, this is good. And then the thing you're really looking for is the power belt. And that completes the quest. Guess this is going to give us the level up. Let's have a look. The power belt requires level 5. Gives 1 evade. Very nice. That being said, an increase in evade is only going to give you 2% additional chance. So right now it's not useful to us, but this does mean that if you find a really good belt or a really good amulet, it is definitely going to be worth switching out one of them. Because 1 level in evade is more than we need. More than enough. This is for level 8, so we can't use that yet. This we have all checked. Okay. Then we'll just continue on. Let's see, do I need to pick any of these other ones? Summon Mastery is only really worth it if you have an additional summon. And by the way, you can't really go for a Necromancer playstyle. Here in the video, they show you having a demon and a ghost, but the only creatures you can have out at one time is one of these summons, so either an undead, a ghost, or a demon, and your creature. You can, however, if your undead is summoned and he dies and he's still on cooldown, you can then summon a ghost. That is a possibility. But none of these are really useful to me right now. This isn't either. Mana Leech is really good. I'm definitely going to get that, because that basically means that by increasing your damage, melee damage, you will have no trouble increasing or keeping up your mana pool, because it's 10% of the damage inflicted is then gained as mana for 80% of your attacks. So this basically, gives you no mana problems as long as you keep attacking, which I think is really cool, because this really creates this battle mage type of playstyle where you're fighting in melee whilst shooting fireballs. Life Leech is really good. Bleed is okay. Life Leech is better. Defensive Posture and Battle Rage are both good, but I am personally going to go for Battle Rage. Fatality is, in my opinion, useless, unless you're playing on Nightmare, and even then it's only good versus certain enemies. It allows you to instant kill an enemy when it's at a certain threshold of life, and the threshold is a percentage. So at max level, which is going to be level 15, it's going to allow you to execute an enemy at 40% health. But that does mean that you have invested 15 skill points. And 15 skill points can be used in a whole lot of different ways that are more useful. So because of that, I personally never take Fatality. Because, well, the only enemies really worth executing are the ones that are really strong, such as boss monsters, boss enemies. And those, well, there are just not a lot of bosses in the game. And if they are, and you're struggling fighting them, then reinvesting those 10 to 15 skill points you've put into Fatality is probably worth more. Jump attack is fine. It is something, however, you really do need to keep putting points into to keep or to retain its value. But it's a good skill, specifically in when fighting groups of enemies. It's good. Whirlwind we are going to level, but at level 8. Rush attack is fine, but it's also just fine right now. We are not going to pick any of the ranger skills except for evade and potion efficiency, which we might as well start leveling now, I suppose. Yeah, I guess. No, I'm going to put it into rush. Battle Rage becomes only really good when you again have a higher value in your damage. Because it sacrifices melee armor rating, which means that when you're fighting melee enemies, it is, truly something to keep in mind because the amount of damage they can inflict is really high. Specifically because melee enemies are typically the highest damaged enemies. They deal more damage on average than a ranger, an archer, or a mage. And in addition to that, 20% is good. But yeah, again, 20% on 5 is 6. So having one additional damage generically is not worth it to decrease your armor rating by 40. Not 40%, by the way, but 40. So all of the melee armor rating you've got here is decreased by a total of 40. But at level 10 or something like that, when we get to the Blood Echelon set, which is a set we will get in this valley still, it is worth it. All right, the main quest. Don't enter the mill, by the way. After you kill the assassin at the chapel, a different assassin will be in the mill.
Who will build the dragon defenses?
The local incessant small talk. Tell me you have something to
It's your lucky day.
Good, but in any case, the next part, during this help, the effects layer.
Yeah.
Take this key.
Hey, this is good. We get a reward of 2 choices. Typically, I pick money, especially in the early game. The one thing I would consider here, if I were an archer, I would definitely pick the bow because this is a really strong bow. You could go for the health potion, but again, most fights can be won by just kiting. A charm that increases Indomitable Will by 1 is not worth it. However, a charm that increases a stat by 4 or 5, I will typically choose. But those are only available in the later parts of the game, as is to be expected. Alright. Now, the information we found, again, to keep the tempo of the walkthrough as high as possible. The information we found is that in the chapel here, in our village, there is a ghost. The ghost of Lord Arben. Lord Arben was a dragon slayer. Or a dragon knight, I mean. And we will mind read him about it as well. Because he actually died as a dragon, and then when he was found... something I haven't touched upon yet, by the way. Dragon slayers hunt dragons, and dragons are dragon knights. And a dragon knight is a... basically a human who can turn into a dragon. And if you've watched any trailer of this game, then you know that we are going to become a dragon knight as well. I don't feel guilty spoilering that bit. Nah, that's useless. both are going to be sold. This requires a key, and the key is on the middle altar. Speaking of the middle altar, in the middle altar, on top of the middle altar, there's a cross, I suppose, with a sword stuck in it, and that is the sword of Lord Arben. And because of that, his ghost is bound here. He is buried here as well, by the way. And since we are a dragon slayer, we can see and speak to ghosts. And when you approach the altar, he will be summoned. And you can mind read him.
Thinks of his shield, how it was lost in combat with Orobas, and how it must still be there in the crypt the dragon fled into.
Yeah. So, if you don't mind read him, and you go into that crypt, you will not find a shield. We are going to find his shield there now. I think this is really cool, because this basically unlocks special type of equipment by mind reading characters. Mark me, Dragon Slayer.
Holds here the spirit of one who was once a slayer.
Yeah, so he used to be a Dragon Slayer as well.
Duel me and emerge victorious.
He spawns a few mages, which are worth killing first because they drop, or they don't drop anything, but they give you experience. So you might as well.
Congratulations, Slayer. The memory ritual has not deprived you of all your former powers. I know a newborn when I see one. I brought many of them to Farglow myself. I am Lord Arben's spirit, sworn to dwell the night and walk the day without rest until all dragon knights have been burnt. The last dragon knight is near.
Oh.
She you are chasing, the blasphemy called Talana.
I was incorrect. So it is not he who is a dragon's knight. It was Orobas who flew into the cave where we mind read him about. Just gonna pick up.
Another one to add
thank
to the
you.
collection.
Here we're going to find the Revlon Guard armor, by the way.
Shiny.
Something to keep in mind. But yeah, the Dragon Knights are almost extinct, and Lord Arben is here still because he, as a ghost, can't leave the world because there's something keeping him here, which is a trope you see with ghosts in fantasy fairly often.
Did you say
Yeah, Lord Arben, yada yada yada. Yeah, just take the gold, level up, great. And an autosave. Okay. Let's sell all of our stuff. Anything I have to keep in mind? Nope, this can all go. Oh, the stats book. There was a stats book in the crypt. And we gained a level, so let's increase our stats as well. Yeah, I might actually just start putting points into Battle Rage. Because why not? If I've got skill points left anyway. Okay. Yeah, let's sell. Actually, I want to check something. There are a few things that have changed in the Developer's Cut edition, and I'm fairly certain that's not the case. Yeah, no, okay. I want to check if you have a better sales cost at merchants, that you have a better buy cost at as well. So since we've decreased Derek's costs twice, I figured maybe he will sell his. We can sell our stuff for a better price as well. Dexterity potion, get rid of it. Strength potion, get rid of it. Intelligence potion, get rid of it. Dexterity potion. Okay, good. All the books. Don't need those. Very nice. I wouldn't Wow. That is good. For only 500 coins. Okay, let's real quick check if he's got anything better for now. I don't expect it. Yeah, damn. That's that is strong. So I think if I switch this, yeah, that's quite an upgrade. Okay, not bad. Okay, so now it might slowly but surely start becoming worth it to use Battle Rage. I'm going to kill the assassin here real quick.
Time has come at last.
Yeah.
No, I beg you.
Slayer!
A slayer. Impressive. I'll not fight you if I don't have to. Why don't you let me finish this matter and we can talk some more?
Yeah, so Antumbra is an assassin of the Assassin's Guild in Alaroth. And okay, this is again a thing that you can decide for yourself depending on if you want to be a good slayer or a bad slayer or an evil slayer, right? Antumbra is going to assassinate Bod, and Bod is not going to do anything for me anymore. And I still have to hand in Linda's purse, but I can just open it to get money instead of giving it to Linda, which would give me experience. I'm going to help Antumbra kill Bod. And if you want to be a good character, then you kill Antumbra.
Because it's my job.
Both cases
This is
complete the
Dragon's
quest.
yours. You don't see us interfering with that.
No.
Courage, my
Can you believe the Divine was still alive when Buad disappeared from Verdistis? You were smart to choose my side. I can't reward you now for your help, but I will if you find me in Alaroth. Till then, Slayer, do your work.
Okay. You get his loot.
Shiny.
Alright. So now we are free to go to the alchemist again whenever we want, right? To the tree. I think, by the way, there's an item that he might have. Yeah, he's also, yeah, this is wonderful. The Malachite gem. The Malachite gem is a very, very rare item. It's very expensive, right? It's 2,000 a piece. But it's the only item that is hard to come by, but that is also a necessity in order to get level 10 enchantments on your armor. And level 10 enchantments are the enchantments that are the highest level. Give you an example. Increase your magical damage by 8 as a increased magical damage enchantment on a weapon is like level 2 or 3. Increase magical damage by 100 is the level 10 enchantment. So if you want to increase your damage and tankiness, survivability to the maximum amount, you have to buy malachite gems whenever you can. And malachite malachite ore veins are the only ore veins I will always re-roll to see if I can get a malachite gem from it, because they are so rare yet so valuable. And yeah, I'm going to check if he's got any useful potions right now as well, but I don't think I'm really that interested in it for now. So we'll just buy both malachite gems. And we still have more than 2,000 gold left, so that's really good. We're level 7. We could... Wait, where's the... Yeah, here is it. We could hand in the Goblin Heart, which will give us one more quest to take out the guards on the farm of Jackson. We can hand in the Saving of the Pigs quest. We can hand in the Bandit Den quest at Captain Lewis. And we can get Quincy. The only one of these I'm going to do is Quincy's quest. The rest can all wait, no problem. Oh, and we can also hand in Jalmar to Captain Rodney. Quincy's quest is here, where you complete it. You will have to confront him about leaving the guard in the watchtower just outside of the city, all by himself, facing 3 goblins. Because Quincy, PV, sorry, PV is a coward. Yes, you. That's the only one you care about, isn't that so? Your punishment shall be severe.
PV, you are hereby under arrest.
I guess there's no other way. Let me just say, I'm sorry, Quincy.
I'd accept your apology. If you hadn't hoped I'd die out there, so your cowardice would remain a secret.
Take a good hard look at the daylight, PV. You won't be seeing it again for quite some time. Off you go.
Satisfactory.
Mind read him you can do again,
You have my warmest thanks. Here's a hand.
but it's not really useful. Get this. Maybe get a level up? No, I don't. Okay. And that's it for this area. That's the very first area in the game. The only thing we can do other than this is to hand in the Goblin Hearts and do the additional quest to kill the 3 guards that are on the farm there. That's it. Other than that, we've done everything we can in this area. Apart from, you know, handing in those few quests I just mentioned. I'll just move to the spot where we are going to continue, and then I'm going to finish up the episode. This is where I'm going to stop. I'm going to save, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you have a good day. Cheers.